really thought that my mind is always on music and dancing, and it usually is, but they never thought that this performer, myself, would outthink them. So we can't let them get away with what they're trying to do, because now I'm a free agent. I just owe Sony one more album. It's just a box set, really. It's with 2 new songs, which I've written ages ago.
Michael Jackson at that point in time wanted to get out of, walk away from Sony. These record companies really do own the artists. It's a lot of crazy shit that goes down. Prince was familiar with this as well, because Prince at one point wrote the word slave on his face. He was talking about Warner Brothers. He wanted to get out of his contract. So Prince's way of doing that was changing his name to that symbol.
Turn
that's
left.
how he was able to get out of that. But from what I understand with Michael Jackson, I think he wanted his catalog. With back then, you didn't hear as much about artists asking for their catalog like you do today, right?
Uber
I
for
think Taylor
Harrison
Swift
R.
owns her catalog of music. I think she owns her masters, etc. But at that time, not as much. And Michael Jackson basically stood up to Tommy Mottola.
I might be at the wrong
and not only
place.
that, but he called him out, and he called him out publicly.
There's a
We'll go on
different
little
Taco
bit
Bell.
more here.
Thanks.
Because every album that I record, I write, like, literally, I'm telling you the truth, I write at least 120 songs every album I do. So I could do the box set, just give them any 2 songs. So I'm leaving Sony a free agent, owning half of Sony. So I own half of Sony's, and I'm leaving.
Turn left, then turn right on Cobb Parkway Northwest.
Because of it, but I just did good business,
So that part right there, they were very angry with him. They really don't like it when you don't do what they want you to do.
Turn right on Cobb Parkway Northwest.
When you want to get out of your contract. You guys got to understand, for a lot of us growing up back in the day, Michael Jackson was like one of the biggest artists in the freaking world. And I never went to a Michael Jackson concert, but I know some people who did. And they said it was just like an out-of-body experience, right? Now, we talk about Tommy Mottola. He's also in the Epstein files. There's a email here from Tommy Mottola to Jeffrey Epstein. See what I told you? Like, some of the names they redact and some of them they don't. They don't cover up his name. The Tommy Mottola Media Group, all the way down here, it says, do you need to build a new house on the island as well? That is Tommy speaking to Jeffrey Epstein. There's a response here. Yes, houses and extra massage room for you in bulletproof glass. So that was Jeffrey Epstein telling Tommy Mottola, an extra massage room for you in bulletproof glass. When I say these were evil people, these are evil, corrupt people. Michael Jackson was right about Tommy Mottola. Mariah Carey talked about him too. But Michael wanted to get away from Sony. Michael also, and I can't play it on here because of copyright, Michael Jackson made this song called They Don't Really Care About Us. They Don't Care About Us. Remember that song where he's like dancing and stuff? And he said, all I want to say is that they don't really care about us. That was another example of Michael trying to tell us what was really going on. If you go back and you read the lyrics of that song, he was trying to tell you who was really in charge, what was really happening, and that us, by us, he was talking about all of us, the 99%, those of us at the bottom, and they don't care about us. Michael Jackson, because he bucked the system, I believe that's why they came after him with the charges, the child pedophilia charges. I still remember like it was yesterday when Michael Jackson came on TV and said he didn't do it.
I ask all of you to wait and hear We try to help thousands upon thousands of children to live happy lives. It brings tears to my eyes when I see any child who suffers. I am not guilty of these allegations, but if I am guilty of anything, it is of giving all that I have to give to help children all over the world. It is of loving children of all ages and races. It is of gaining sheer joy from seeing children with their innocent and smiling faces. It is of enjoying through them the childhood that I missed myself. I ask all of you.
So Michael Jackson said he didn't do it. He said that it wasn't him. And unfortunately, like at that time, a lot of the damage from the press, it had already been done. And Michael continued to deny that he did anything to those kids. And that brings me to two people in particular. Of course, Macaulay Culkin was close friends with Michael Jackson, and so was Corey Feldman. And so the media continued to ask them if anything happened to them. Let's get to the part here about Corey Feldman, because I want you to hear what Corey Feldman said. It's almost like the media, they were trying to put the words into their mouths. Just go ahead and say that he did something. Listen to what Corey Feldman said about Michael Jackson.
The only celebrity at the time in 1993 to come out and say absolutely not. Absolutely. He never touched me. He never touched anybody. As far as right now, there's 4 FBI agents waiting for me.
Wait 1 second. So that was Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman has said this multiple times that Michael Jackson did not do anything to him, sexually, anything in that manner. Then we get to Aaron Carter. Aaron Carter, for those who are not aware, he is the brother of Nick Carter from the Backstreet Boys. At one point, Aaron Carter had his own solo career as well. Unfortunately, Aaron died. He did struggle with issues of drugs. And listen to this.
say absolutely not. As far as right now, there's 4 FBI agents waiting for me in the hotel room. And my
In
mom
2 miles,
just
turn right.
Tell them what happened. And I'm like, what do you mean tell them what happened? And I sit down with them and they all get asked these super sexually exploited, questions, back-sided questions. And I knew that at my age already. And I looked at all 4 of them and I said, are you crazy? I said, what you think I'm gonna do? Tell you that Michael did something bad so that we can sue him for money? That's what I told him. I was like, and I looked over at my mom and I was like, are you serious, Mom? I was like, what is going on here? Why are you letting this happen? And she goes, well, I think something happened, I think something. I'm like, really? That man did nothing but be hospitable, kind, loving, giving, everything you could think of. We rode 4-wheelers for 5 hours, me, him, and Chris Tucker. Like, I knew Michael better than all of them.
So, for those who are not familiar with the Carter family, at one point they did have a reality show. Nick and Aaron, they grew up in a family that struggled with addiction as well. So keep that in mind. But I will say this. This was one of the games that was played where they were trying to get kids that they knew who had been to the Neverland Ranch to come out and say that Michael Jackson abused them, sexually abused them, right? Or touched them inappropriately at any form of time. And one of those people that came forward and said that and was
In
on
a half-mile, turn right.
was Wade Robson. Now, Wade was a dancer for a long time within the industry. Wade recently, not too long ago, said that it was all a lie. People were doing it for money. Now, some will say, well, Michael shouldn't have been around those kids. Look, I say this, Michael was an adult. Do I think that Michael should have been hanging out with little kids? No. You guys know how I feel about this age thing. We didn't have this conversation about old girl.
Turn right.
I forgot her name. That's bad. We already had this conversation about old girl. girl and her inappropriate relationship with a 15-year-old. So do I think that Michael Jackson as an adult should have been hanging out with kids? No. I think Michael Jackson felt as though he was a kid, that he missed out on his
Turn left.
childhood and not realizing like how that would look to the public, like someone as an adult. Do I think, and I said it back then, do I think that Michael Jackson harmed those kids? No, I don't think so at all. I don't think that he did. And it was very clear that this was a money grab. But the money aside, it
Turn left,
tarnished his
then turn right.
reputation. And things went downhill for him for quite some time after that. Erica Kirk. I don't know why I forgot her name. I'm sorry. Woo! But yeah, I think people need to hang out.
Using the right lane, turn right,
You're an adult,
then
you
turn
shouldn't be hanging
left.
out with kids. But I never thought that he did anything to those kids. Let's continue on a little bit more here with Aaron.
Yeah, I believe
Even
everything that I've
Macaulay, if
seen.
it was Macaulay right now,
I'm not buying it.
Even
I'm
if
not-
it
I'm
was
not buying
Macaulay Culkin sitting right here, he would tell you the same thing I did with the same assertiveness.
Yeah,
Right. What happened at the house? That's what all these things are
It's,
people are
that's
concerned
what's so
about.
weird,
Yeah.
nothing happened, I mean, nothing really. I mean, we played video games.
It really pisses me off that people think about Michael like that.
I do.
That was Macaulay Culkin saying nothing happened. We played video games. This is Aaron Carter again here.
Well, you're wrong.
No, but
you're wrong, Howard.
My opinion is, if he didn't do anything to me, I don't think he would have done anything to anyone else.
He's
That was Macaulay Culkin again. Here is Corey
right
Feldman.
now.
I've told the police. In fact, if anybody wants to go back to 1993 when I was interviewed by the Santa Barbara Police Department, I sat there and I gave them the names. They're on record. They have all of this information, but they were scanning Michael Jackson. All they cared about was trying to find something on Michael Jackson.
Do you guys hear what Corey Feldman is saying? So Corey Feldman was one of the first people coming forward in Hollywood and said that him and his friend Corey Haim were abused by these men in Hollywood, working within the Hollywood industry. He gave the police names. They didn't go and arrest these guys or interrogate these guys. What Corey Feldman is saying is that they were too busy trying to get him to say that Michael Jackson did these things to him. So it was already planned. It's like, yeah, I know you told us these guys did it, but we wanted to be this guy. So this is what we're going to go after, right? And I believe the police were told to do that by people higher up. So all those years went by and people called Corey Feldman crazy, and he told people about child abuse that was happening in Hollywood at the hands of these producers and directors, etc., and nothing was done. Now, are you surprised when you see what's coming out of the Epstein files? They go after who they want to go after. Let's go on more here.
That, by the way, did not abuse
Who
you.
Michael was innocent. And that was what the interview was about with the police in 1993. I told them he is not that guy. And they said, well, maybe you just don't understand your friend. And I said, no, I know the difference between pedophiles and somebody who's not a pedophile because I've been molested. Here's the names. Go investigate.
Hi guys, thanks for watching my video. I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan.
That's the girl who made that video. But do you see how they were trying to tell Corey who it was, even though he gave them the names of the people that sexually abused him? You see how they were trying to tell him that it was Michael Jackson instead? This is some of the things that happened to some of the other kids as well. Their parents told them, what did you do there? Oh, but did he do this? He did this, didn't he? He did this to you, didn't he? And you're a kid. It's like, and your parent is telling you this thing happened or whatever. I mean, well, what's the kid gonna do? Like, most likely, right? Now I want to get to this part here as well. The Macaulay Culkin part again. Michael Jackson apparently rescued children from Epstein. This, along with the song about Palestine, led to his discrediting. This is another thing that we have to mention. Michael Jackson wrote a song about Palestine. Of course, they wouldn't allow him to publish that song. But again, that's going against the establishment, going against the grain, right? So they don't like that. This was the first time I had heard that Neverland was really supposed to be a safe place for those children to save them from people like a Jeffrey Epstein. Listen to this.
I'll never forget that. Michael Jackson saved me from getting on a plane to that tiny island. So they're saying Neverland is...
Did you hear that? This is from Macaulay Culkin.
I'll never forget that. Michael Jackson saved me from getting on a plane to that tiny island. So they're saying Neverland is where Michael Jackson took children to protect them from what was being done on Epstein's Island. And because he was going against their regime, they punished him and they flipped the script and made it appear as if he was the one
Using the left lane, keep left to stay on Cobb Parkway Northwest. Then turn left on Atwood Summit Boulevard Northwest.
Who's going on record.
Turn left on Atwood Summit Boulevard Northwest.
This all makes sense.
Turn left on Atwood Summit Boulevard Northwest.
It has been dead for so long, but now it's coming together. Not only
Now it's all starting to make sense that was supposed to be a safe place for them. Again, I still don't think a grown man should have been hanging out with these kids. That's just my take on that. But I think the thing with Michael Jackson is that he didn't have a childhood. He was basically providing for his family ever since he was a kid. Remember, when the Jackson 5 formed, he was one of the younger people. I think either Randy or Marlon may have been younger than him, but he was one of the younger ones with the biggest
In a
voice,
quarter mile,
right?
turn left on
And
Atwood
so
due
he
West
was
Road
one that
Northwest.
took off. But the reality is his brothers were older. They had an actual childhood. And then it got to the point where we all know about Joe and Joe Jackson and how he was with those kids. I mean, you basically was providing for your family. And then now you live this life of luxury where it's like, this is kind of what you have to do because this
Turn
is
left
what
on
they got
Atwood
used
due West Road Northwest.
to. So there's that. Let's go on a little bit more here.
did he protect the children from the physical things that were being done to them? And you know what I'm saying. You just social media, gotta be careful. But he also were protecting them from the social and emotional abuses that were occurring by advising Britney Spears to get out from under her dad before the conservatorship.
Just ahead, turn right on Haynes Mill Court Northwest.
I found that to be interesting. Julie said Randy Jackson and Janet Jackson are the youngest two. Michael was just above them.
Turn right on Haynes Mill Court Northwest.
Jackson 5. I think Janet got to have a little bit more of a childhood than they did. I know she was on Good Times, but I think it seems like she got into it a little bit later. But I think that
in a quarter mile, drop off on the left.
He was pretty young, like at that time. I know some people are saying they think this video is AI, but I had already verified a lot of this as well, that's what Neverland was really supposed to be. Let me continue on here.
And things of that nature. This man was a lifesaver. Nonetheless, those of you who are like me, help me fact check this, because at the end of the day, I want to make sure this is right. But this is what I've been hearing up to this point, and it all makes sense.
Yeah, I checked it too. That's really what it was supposed to be. Until this day, Macaulay Culkin still says, you know, Michael was a good friend and he never did anything to him that was inappropriate. Macaulay Culkin still stands by that. So it was just interesting to me that numerous times, whether it was police,
drop off on the
whether it
left,
was, you know, commentators, reporters, they tried to get Corey Feldman, Aaron Carter, who again is now deceased, and Macaulay Culkin to
Brian R. says, meet live.
All right, how you doing?
Thanks.
Chilling. Let's
And
see.
here's another one. Like, this just goes to show you how many
Where'd you
times
get
this
Keegan's?
showed up.
Okay,
Where
got it.
here's Corey Feldman again.
Here we go.
I think it starts there.
Bang.
Or is that the Aaron part? That's the Aaron part. Here's Corey right here. I think it starts with Aaron.
That's right. And just this past January, Macaulay
Thank
talked
you.
about
God
the
bless
pop
you.
star on the Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum podcast. He revealed that he and Jackson bonded over their childhood fame.
Head to your drop off at 2631 Laurel Lane Northwest.
And fast with me, and I think yes, I think he identified with that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's almost easy to try to say, oh, it was like weird or whatever, but it wasn't. It's like one of my friendships that people question only because of the fact that he was the most famous person in the world. He was the kind of like person who's like, yeah, been through the exact same freaking thing, and wanted to make sure that like I wasn't alone in that kind of. Was he fun? He was awesome. He was hilarious. He was sweet, and look at people didn't know how funny he was.
In a quarter mile, turn left on Atwood due West Road Northwest.
everyone else. But like for me, it's like, yeah, it was a normal, like, you know, it was a friendship.
And another longtime friend of mine.
And we'll show, I have to fast forward because of copyright and all how that can be, but I want to show you again. Here was Corey Feldman again.
They also got to know each other because Corey was a child actor.
Melanie actually talked to him about Michael last year, and it was clear that he firmly believed Michael was innocent of any sexual abuse allegations.
All I do know is what I know. And what I know is Michael was a gentleman. and he
Turn left
was
on Hackworth
respectful
Due
to
West Road
every
Northwest.
child that I saw him with, and to me myself. So there was a group of kids, and we all formed a bond. We were all friends with Michael, and I asked each one of those kids about their experiences, and every one of them told me the same thing that I experienced.
So do you guys hear this? And I don't know how many times Corey Feldman and Macaulay Culkin had to say this. Aaron can't say it anymore.
In a
because
quarter mile,
he
turn
has
left on Cobb
passed
Parkway
away.
Northwest using the left lane.
This is what they do. Like, when you're around these people, rich, powerful people, and, you know, I think that Michael Jackson started to see what the industry was really about and what these people really wanted. And it seems like Michael Jackson was a generous kind person who really actually
Turn left on Cobb Parkway Northwest.
These people in the industry are vultures. And it seemed like once he realized what they were really about and he tried to break away from that, that's when they come after you. That's when they smear you. That's when they slander you. That's when they, and here we go. Okay, we're going to say that he's abusing kids. And people won't think otherwise because he has this ranch called Neverland and he lets these kids come over there and spend the night. So they come after your reputation. And these are the big people in the industry. Like again, the Tommy Mottola, that's another one that I think people should pay close attention to. But another one here that he was trying to protect the children. Listen to this.
So you mean to tell me the Epstein files reveal that Michael Jackson was actually trying to help the kids by taking them to Never Never Land to get them away from the perverts? Do y'all know what that means? So according to the new Epstein files info, Michael Jackson created Never Never Land to be a safe space for kids to go to get away from the perverts like Epstein and Diddy. And since Michael Jackson was about to expose, or was in the middle of exposing them, allegedly, that is why he got took out.
That part right there, exposing them. Well, you know, if Michael Jackson was still alive today, he would probably say, well, looks like some of you getting exposed anyway, right? And there's the whole thing about even Michael Jackson's death. Dr. Conrad, who said that he was giving him that medication, I think it's called Profilol or something like that, to help him sleep. Obviously, it was an overdose. This effectively killed Michael Jackson.
In 2 miles, turn right on Pine Mountain Road.
I mean, it was all very suspicious to me, you know, at that point in time. And
Still is.
I don't know, man.
Still is.
I don't know. They have a way of shutting people up.
Allegedly. I still don't think y'all understand the gravity of this situation now. So now the whole conspiracy theory with Diddy and the coroner and somehow that Secret Service or agent or whatever, Fahim or whatever that guy named that worked with Diddy, who many conspiracy people were saying had something to do with MJ being taken out of here. Now, that all kind of makes sense, in a sense. And so since Michael Jackson was trying to take down that whole perverted scheme, they flipped it on him and made him look like he was the...
Every accusation is a confession. Sound familiar? We'll say that he's doing these
Every
things.
accusation is a confession. Every
The
accusation
predator.
is a
I'm talking about Michael
confession.
Jackson. When all this time it was
Every
a bunch of
accusation
bullshit,
is a
and it was
confession.
them trying to protect their self. And in turn, they shitted on Michael Jackson.
Yep.
And I don't like it. What if
That is one of the things that they will do to people to try to tarnish their reputation is they'll say that, oh, well, we'll say that they abuse children or something like that, so that, you know, it doesn't just tarnish their reputation. It makes it more difficult for them to get a job, to get, you know, continue working like in business, whatever profession that they're in. It can obviously like hurt them in significant ways. But when we look back at things, you know, this again was someone that really
In a half-mile turn right on Pine Mountain Road using the right lane.
He tried to tell us through his music, through the song, they don't really care about us. Read the lyrics if you haven't read them. And then I also have to add this part. You know, I look back at Prince too. When Prince died, it was very questionable to me as well. We know that Prince did fight back against Warner Brothers. Listen, guys, these industries, whether it's music, movies, TV, these are really powerful people that own these companies.
Killers.
Turn right on Pine Mountain Road.
Whether it's Sony,
Killers.
Lionsgate, whatever. These are powerful people that own these companies.
People.
And the people who own the companies don't care about the artist. They care about making money. And if they see that you're disrupting how they make
In a
money.
quarter-mile turn right on Laurel Lane Northwest.
Michael Jackson having a song about Palestine, Michael Jackson wanting to come forward about what he was seeing happening and what was happening within the industry, how they were treating kids, oh, they would have been done.
They have babies so they can take their
Turn right on
stem
Laurel Lane
cells.
Northwest.
They have babies so they can take their stem cells and inject them into themselves. Kill the baby. Take the stem cells and the blood. Put it into their own body. You know who does that? All of them.
I still remember the day.
That's how they stay looking
Britney
young.
Spears on the cover of a
Tom
magazine,
Cruise.
half naked, and she was still a teenage girl. What
All of
mother
Drop
lets that
off.
happen? And I think the parents, some of them just look the other way. I really do. I think they pimped out their kids. I think some of them looked the other way because they just wanted the money.
Harrison R. says, leave it
So you
door.
look back and you
Leave
wonder
it
what
on the
happened
stool.
to some
Thank
of these
you.
people. It shouldn't take a Nickelodeon documentary to reveal it.
Harrison R. says, leave it door. Leave it on the
And
stool.
oftentimes you
Thank
ask
you.
where were their parents. So there's a lot of predators in the music business. There's predators in the movie business, in the TV business. And if you're just a young kid who wants to be a star, and if you're a young kid who wants to be a star that may be coming from a broken home, it's like they go after certain people. And I think you can tell the difference. If you look at the ones where the parents were still very much active and involved in the life, Tatiana Ali, I think, is a perfect example. She played Ashley from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Tatiana Ali said her parents still treated her like a normal kid. She still had to do her homework on time. She still had to have chores, and they were very much involved in her life, even though she was on TV. And I think that's important. But the whole damn industry just seems very, very predatory, especially with children. So if you hear the stories about what they did to the adults, like MJ and others, what do you think they do to these kids? And this goes way back. I talked about Judy Garland about a year ago. She was also abused. This goes way back within the industry. But some of these parents just want money and just see dollar signs. And it gets to the point where the kid is now taking care of the parents. So, I don't know, man. You wonder, like, what happened to some of these people. But it's very obvious the industry is just completely cruel and disgusting. Other people refer to it as the game. Eminem mentions it in a number of songs. He said, I try to leave, but the game won't let me. All one big industry. So when you see all this stuff with the Epstein files right now, like, I want to point back in this direction because I pointed back at Michael Jackson because this was the person that had the Neverland Ranch. This is the person that they said was abusing all these children at his ranch. And meanwhile, you have a whole slew of Epstein files. And like I said, Michael Jackson is not there. All these other people are there. He tried to warn us. Hey guys, this was a savvy clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.
I like it, Savvy. Good job. Just gonna be clicking on something. What happened? I wasn't listening to. Maybe it's not up yet.
The topic that I think that is the hardest to talk about in Epstein is the satanic culty stuff that is all over the files, and it's really disturbing stuff. You guys know that one of the items in there stuck out to me almost immediately. It just happened to be when I was getting prepared for RT, going on RT, giving my initial thoughts of what was happening, knowing that I didn't even have time to go through everything. But Shadow Ezra did a breakdown on this one, and you guys know that the George Bush Sr. thing, it really struck me that there's this whole report from this victim that was a little boy at the time. The victim says that allegedly that George Bush Sr. Raped the male victim, raped him while he was also subjugated to a ritualistic sacrifice in which his feet were cut with a sword. This little innocent boy victim also stated in this file on record that he witnessed a baby being dismembered and their intestines removed on a yacht. He says that people on the yacht ate the feces from the intestines. And just this one, and I know this is disturbing to think about that that you can imagine this happening. This reminds us of Pizzagate. We know that was. It turns out Pizzagate was real, guys. Turns out that this is worse than twisted dudes that have pedophilia. That they're committing crimes against children. This is where we're getting deep and dark into satanic, ritualistic cult behavior in which the people participating signifies something, part of a cult, part of a tribe. This type of stuff we showed you with the Rothschilds parties that Stanley Kubrick depicts in his films in Eyes Wide Shut. We see that they're part of this thing, this dark entity that means that once you're in, you're always in. And this is why we say that they're all working together on the same side, because once you see each other in the most darkest, horrible situation possible, imaginable, you're tied for life. And so there's something about that gang cult mentality that is very prevalent here. And this is all over the file. So I just want to do this. As we say, Pizzagate was real the whole time, guys. It wasn't a conspiracy. I want to just hear from Epstein's niece as she explained. Epstein's actual niece explains what life was growing up for her in this cult behavior. She's in this interview. I'm just show you guys a clip. She's exposing that her families, the families that she grew up with, were a part of a satanic cult called Baal. And she accuses these powerful elite figures of running a child sex trafficking network with ties to ancient Baal worship, which they frame as a belief system among those seeking godlike power. Let's hear it.
That's also what Epstein named his bank account, Baal.
God, it's so, yes, the bank account. And they built the island in a way that would replicate these ancient rituals from that time. So it wasn't just a random chance that he happened. The design of everything and the names of the bank accounts were all giving tribute, as they say, to this ancient cult, which I suppose they represented, according to Epstein's own niece. This is her explaining a little bit of what her traumatic childhood was like growing up as an Epstein.
Ball, B-A-B-A-L. My family masqueraded themselves as Jewish publicly, but behind closed doors, at Passover dinners, when I was drugged, would admit, we are Satanists. That we belonged to the cult of Baal, B-A-L. They told me this with consistency while I was being abused. Now, what you can look up about the cult of Baal, information that is publicly available, is that it is thousands of years old. It is a Phoenician satanic fertility cult. And publicly, it's supposed to have been eradicated. But to my knowledge and my experience, it is not. This is what people perceive the Illuminati to be. It is a group of elites that practices forced and uses these crimes to control people. They happen to have a huge reach over politics and entertainment. To answer your basic question, why my family does this, because it was done to them, because having one man bear as many children in a generation as possible and forcing them through these traumatic events, they believe it creates a stronger bond, that creates more loyalty, that it keeps people from talking. And for the most part, they're right, because I'm the only one of my siblings who has directly spoken out about this. There are people who have hinted at it in their music. Of course, Justin Bieber has talked about being assaulted by Usher and Justin Timberlake at P. Diddy's parties, but I don't think it's a coincidence they've only gone after Sean Combs and not his other alleged perpetrators who were born into the bloodline.
This is what we're saying. They protect some and then they throw others under the bus. So that
things will be happening that are crazy and indescribable.
Just a minute. I'm going to broadcast 2 places at once. The same information.
So that's a good distinction there. She's telling us that some get thrown under, some get protected for life.
Seems to be a level of protection for people who are simply born into that world, contrasted with people like Sean Combs or R. Kelly, who joined as adults. But I was not in the boardrooms. I was a child on drugs. So I can't tell you exactly who organizes this, exactly how it happens. It's just speculation and memory.
Yep. I mean, and people have to realize, a lot of these people would unfortunately rather blow the world up than to be held accountable, for their crimes. And, that's why I think it's particularly important that we take notice, of the fact that the last nuclear treaty, in existence between us and Russia actually expired yesterday. That's the START treaty. And, you know, I really think now is a time when we have to be more vigilant than ever, because, you know, these elites will evade justice and hold on to power for as long as they can. So we have to really pay attention, you know, to what's happening in the world right now.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, just really quick, just to comment, you know, on what they're saying over there. I'm glad that Epstein is being exposed, and, you know, the participation of some, you know, Jews in it is being exposed. But I want people to remember, it goes beyond like just Jews. You know, she just mentioned it's a Phoenician cult. You know, they have ties to the Vatican. They have ties to these secret societies, like George Bush Sr., who started out, you know, this thread that we're going through. He's a skull and bones Jew, and you're listening to this. You don't think that people are only talking about Jews, and people are saying all Jews. This is part of the practice of the cult of Baal, and not, I would argue, the overwhelming majority of Jews are probably not part like of that. Now, I don't go to synagogue, but I don't know like what they're talking about, but I know the average Jew is not taking part in child sacrifice. So if anyone is out there saying that, I would strongly ask them to reconsider. Now, that being said, you know, people can get weaponized, and people can get, you know, like depending on your ideology, you can get manipulated. And let's not forget, like, you remember those videos that came out like last year of people crawling out of tunnels in New York, and they happen to be like
by the way, there's brand new tunnel footage in the files that came out as well.
So let's talk about that. That doesn't mean that if you're Jewish, you should deny that these things exist, but you should also be open to asking, how are some people in this religion being manipulated? And how is it that there seem to be some synagogues where more people are participating? So if you are a Jew, it should be even more urgent for you to get to the bottom of this, because the longer Jews don't talk about this, the more people are going to suspect that Jews are all part of this. So if you were Jewish and you go to synagogue, I would urge you to start bringing up this topic more often and asking, how is it some synagogues and some rabbis are seemingly more involved in this than a lot of people know? And lastly, let's not forget the most widespread child abuse scandal that I can remember in recent history was also perpetuated by the Catholic Church. You know, the priests that were out there raping boys, and it was being covered up at the highest levels. And let's not forget, part of the Catholic religion is to confess your sins, right? So if you were going to start a blackmail operation, it does seem like the Catholic Church does present several ways, you know, like to make that happen. So again, it's not about overly focusing on one group. It's about talking about everything that's going on. And if you're Jewish, again, I urge you to loudly speak out about this, so, you know, more Jews can be seen to like be pushing back. And again, I want to commend Normal Finkelstein, you know, who, did you see that email, Matt? You know, there was an exchange
what he said,
came out.
no, thank you. I want nothing to do with that. That's
exactly. So again, this is the reaction that I would guess the majority of Jews would have. But let's not kid ourselves. There's a Muslim ISIS, and there's also an extremist group within the Jewish community that is bringing down the name of all Jews, the same way how ISIS brought down the name of Islam. So talk about it, call it out, don't shy away from the conversation, and don't accuse anyone who's worried about it of being anti-Semitic.
And the comparison to ISIS is perfect, because we fund that as well. We fund these things, and that's why you're going to see this commercial on Super Bowl Sunday, because we fund the thing to show you there's this extreme thing and we have to stop it and we have to do everything we can to stop it. We fund the thing to show you the thing. That's the point. And so we'll do. So we pit people against each other in those camps. They've been playing us our whole lives, and no, we're not falling for that shit anymore. But I like the way you broke that down there, Jay. Just really quick on this because we were in the kind of the Pizzagate rabbit hole. To remind people that was 10 years ago when we were called a QAnon conspiracy theorist. There was a reporter. His name was Ben Swan. He was the first to air a Pizzagate segment, which is where he went into the Hillary Clinton emails. Now we were talking about the WikiLeaks that exposed, right? So Julian Assange has exposed all of the deception on the Bernie side, all that stuff. We were looking at that, but at the same time, there were these emails, there were all this little code words, right? And everybody dismissed it. But it turned out it's all been validated. All of that is true. The code words are absolutely everywhere in these files. And it reminded me of
if you search pizza in the Epstein files. Oh, yeah. Never mind, you got it.
Well, this is one of them. The head count. So you have one of these files here. This is from 2007. You guys can see it's a head count for pizza. This is just an example. Are you sure this might not be a Jim Jones Kool-Aid event? TKL, please eat my slice. Okay, so what is that? Well, that's just I guess we're talking about pizza, right? No, who in the Austin office today is going to want some pizza? We only have one slice, and we need to know how many to slice, right? How thinly to slice it. This is from August of 2007. So there's a whole bunch of them, but this is the pizza. You mean this. Oh my God, look at this one, radiating a soft glow. This look of bliss and excitement. Yeah, that's the pizza all of a sudden has a bliss and excitement and a glow. Wow, they must really, really like their pizza. Well, turns out this is the code names. We already knew this, and if you put this out there earlier, like 10 years ago, you were canceled. I mean, I told you guys that the reporter's name was Ben Swan. He was fired immediately when he aired this thing. He was doing an actual investigation, and he saw that hot dog meant boy and a pizza meant girl, and there are all these codes. This stuff is this has been validated now. You know who else has been validated? Jim Caviezel, who did the film. He acted in the film. You guys remember we talked about it on the show. It was Sound of Freedom. That's a movie that they were calling a QAnon piece. He says no, there's something we have to make this film. And then I just want you guys to hear this is Jim Caviezel being vindicated, but he still looks very troubled because this isn't about winning. This isn't about being right. This isn't about saying, I told you so, I was right. He's reliving the trauma that he went through when he first talked about adrenochrome, when he first talked about this stuff. Listen to his own words. This is what happens when you have courage and you speak out on things and people don't want to hear it and they want to make jokes about it. And Stephen Colbert wants to joke about it on his show. Guess what? It was all real.
That's not true. It's C9H9NO3. This is a chemical compound that is absolutely, this has been around in modern science since the 1930s. You can actually, there's a synthetic form and there's a regular natural form, which is caused by torturing little kids to get their adrenaline up, essentially, and then extracting it from them. When you sit and so I brought this up a few years ago, and all of a sudden I was attacked by every media. Look it up. It's there. They absolutely went after me. And the next day, I never heard from my agency for 14 months. My lawyers let me go. My agency never called me after that, and essentially it was done.
So then the reason we're able to say you've been vindicated, man, is because it's all over these files now. We know this was true. We know this was true, and I it makes this moment very important for us to kind of take a breath and say, the work that these people have been doing. This, it's on one hand, it's good. Yes, it's good to say, we were right, but it's also very tragic that people got silenced and bullied and lost their careers. But it goes to show you that when you do the right thing, generally it's an uphill battle, and you have to pay the price. As we know on the show, we've been paying the price for standing up against Israel and their crimes, and that's what happens. And you got the surveillance state, you got the censorship, you got the making it criminal taking people off their platforms and locking people up, as we know. It's happening all over Europe. And so we know that this is the technique. So if there's one thing we can learn from this, let's just learn that all those conspiracy friends you thought you had that you were making fun of, let's extend a hand right now. Let's extend a hand and say, hey, you don't have to, if you don't want to say I'm sorry, don't say you're sorry if you don't mean it. But at least let's go for understanding and empathy that we're all trying here. Yeah.
This doesn't mean every single conspiracy theory that's ever been said is going to be true, and I remember hearing about the Eugene Cohn thing, and my reaction was like, nah, like there's no way, that doesn't make any sense. There's no way politicians are out here drinking the blood of tortured babies, and here we are.
The way I found out about adrenochrome was watching the movie Monsters on, what is it called? Yeah, the Pixar film from 2000. They told us in a children's Pixar film about adrenochrome.
Remember that?
It's no, it's in a kid's film. You can go watch it. They tell you that the monsters they need the it's like this red liquid that goes up the tubes. If they have to jump out of the closets, scare the kids, and it helps them survive. It's like their fuel. And the kids have to scare. So the whole movie's about monsters scaring kids, and you scare them so the kids will get this kind of flow of energy, and then it'll go through a tube, and they make it red. They don't have to make it red. It turns out to be red. They don't say it's blood, but I'm saying it. They made it red for some reason. This weird energy the monsters in the closet need to survive. It's off of fear of children. It's in a Pixar film. Go check it out. Monsters Inc. That was it. Monsters Inc. Look it up. Go watch it. It's fun for the whole family, guys. Back in 2000. Go watch it. They're telling you about adrenochrome. So I'm just saying they dropped little hints around. So there you go. Yeah, go check out Monsters Inc. That's it.
Over 40, I have to share this. A few months ago, I felt stuck and embarrassed by my bladder leaks. The sudden urges, the accidents, the bathroom anxiety.
Recognized.
May I respond briefly to her statement?
Well, I think we can do that probably on one of our members.
Okay, thank you. I don't want that to get away. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Behind me, I have 3 documents from the DOJ production that are emblematic of the massive failure of the DOJ to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. To my right is an email that was sent by the victim's lawyers to the DOJ. It was a list of names not to redact, a list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production. Literally the worst thing you could.
talking to you about, and they don't.
Yeah.
You know, and I just told you before the interview started that you walked so I could run.
Yeah.
Like, real talk. Because people compare me to Wendy, and I'm like, nah. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. And like I said, shout out that.
Yes.
Okay. And just that we put together this interview. She said you do not do interviews really with anybody.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that she dropped my name. I'm glad that you did your research on me and that you're here today. And I'm telling you, the winos are going to show mad love to you. You have no idea.
I
Okay.
appreciate that. Well, I'm happy to be here. So
and we're gonna get some wine for her. We're gonna do it nice. Now listen, not like you have been doing what I do legally. Because I'm not even certified. Like, I'm a news personality,
right?
You know, comedian, all that stuff. But you are an actual journalist,
right?
You've been in Hollywood's ass, for more than 20 years.
Yeah.
When I tell you this, there's no stone that hasn't been uncovered by you,
right?
And I've learned so much about you just in the last few minutes of talking to you, because there's a lot of stuff on the internet that I cannot find. Like, I'm talking to you about my legal battles that I go through with Hollywood, with Hollywood's elite. And you have surprisingly gone through the same thing. You said they have tried to destroy your life. When you were working for columns like US Weekly, Star
Us
Magazine,
Weekly,
Us
Star,
Weekly.
yeah.
I always say US Weekly.
Most people do. Most people still have no idea. Even people that work for Us Weekly still don't know.
US Weekly, Star Magazine, National Enquirer, the Chicago Tribune. You were the gossip column that people read every day, or heard from. Okay, everybody called you when they needed tips or they needed to get to certain sources. And I'm gonna name drop this a little bit just to kind of get them in, to this interview and what this is gonna be about. But like, you just caused a stir on the internet surrounding Jay-Z. You were the last journalist that Kathy White, his alleged mistress, spoke to and was gonna do a tell-all to. Before
Possibly. She hadn't fully committed yet, but she was considering it. And she implied that she was strongly considering it when we last talked on the phone.
Okay, a very healthy, athletic woman.
Yes.
Okay, she was a business owner. She ran like a PR firm. She was college educated.
Right.
So she wasn't like some type of jump off. Like, she was an educated. Was she black? Blasian? What do you call it?
I'm not sure if she was a mix or I'm not sure.
Okay. She's very beautiful.
Yeah.
But she was the alleged mistress, and I have to say alleged because I was there, to Jay-Z. And then, I covered the story recently here because I got into it with one of her, I guess, alleged best friends, Claudia Jordan, who has since denied knowing Kathy White. But, oh my God.
Wait.
Claudia came for my neck. Claudia Jordan.
Today, now she's denying that she ever knew her?
She said she's only met her a handful of times, but they were not best friends. They happened to be in the same place, but they weren't close at all. Now, let me tell you, I had dinner with Claudia Jordan and her friends, okay? I didn't even ask Claudia about this information. She said I was best friends with Jay-Z's alleged mistress. She just said it. I'm like, I had I'm meeting her for the first time. Yes, we've had conversations back and forth through the DM and on the phone. But coming to a dinner with somebody and you just tell somebody like Tasha K that information, what the f are you doing? You know what I'm saying? And so I didn't come out and just spill it, but it was when when the Diddy allegations resurfaced, now they're in stone. They're in stone. The feds are definitely looking into bringing a case against Diddy, all that you spoke of, now you said, hey, listen, it's not just Diddy, it's Jay-Z. You brought up Kathy White again. Claudia Jordan and Kathy White speaking to you, saying that she was friends with Claudia Jordan. I'm like, why are you coming from my neck? It's Liz online.
So, are you saying that she initially said that she was good friends with her and now she's backpedaling it?
She was associates, but they weren't that close, is what Claudia is saying. I've only met her a handful of times. We weren't friends like that. Less than a year. I think she said 9 months.
Okay. Sure. Whatever. I mean, I wasn't investigating her friendship with Claudia Jordan, and I've never met Claudia, but from what I've heard, going back years, they were pretty good friends. So
they're in pictures
together. Sure what's going on there, but
they're in pictures. It's called disassociation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like pictures of her sitting on Diddy's lap, but she's out online calling Diddy out for the things that he did. It's like, what are you doing sitting on Diddy's lap?
Yeah.
If you knew all of this stuff and all of these people that were around Diddy was your friend, why are you sitting on Diddy's lap?
Right.
You know? And so she has decided to, I'm not friends with Tasha. We were never friends. Stop it. You know, we had conversations back and forth as media personalities. Like, you don't have a degree in this. You didn't go to school for journalism. You don't get, you know, you don't do the thorough research like a real journalist does, like you do.
She said that to you?
Yeah. Oh my God. Like, you have no idea. Like,
that's very interesting. That sounds like gaslighting to me.
It's,
but okay.
It's gaslighting. I call it the mistress magnet because she seems to only attract mistresses. Because Gary Owen's wife came out and said that, you know, she was best friends with Gary Owen's mistress. And then her best friend, Sabrina Hutton, was just outed online for taking somebody's husband. And I met that best friend that night at dinner. And I had no idea that she was going to be in the middle of a scandal so big. And then, of course, the Kathy White link. Okay? So, well, we got a special.
Well, what I will say though is that I don't know specifically about her or Kathy, but what I do know is that a lot of these women that do to these parties with big celebrities, they work in rings, and a lot of them get paid to attend these parties. A lot of them are escorts. A lot of them are kept. A lot of them, you know, they have their sugar daddies that buy condos for them. So there's a community of these girls that, you know, are paid to go to these parties.
Interesting. Yeah. And I definitely agree with you because I've spoken to a few of them. And I have one that's gonna come and she's gonna sit down later this week. But she was at a Diddy party here recently, and she does allege that her drink was drugged. I mean, was laced. She was like, I drink all the time. I'm a party girl. But to get that wasted off of one drink, and I can't go home. She was like, anything could have happened to me, you know? So she said that was her first and last Diddy party. But that's just a portion, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's kind of what gave me the, like, I need to talk to Liz, and I hit, you know, Angie was like, I know her, and I was like, please get here. You know what I'm saying? And she said, like I said, she said, you don't f with a lot of people, but like I said, you were and still are a journalist that has covered these stories. You're not someone that just says, oh, it's gossip, but without doing your research. You were speaking to a lot of people that were connected to these circles and even in these circles to write the stories that you wrote, to even to the point where they have pushed you out of the media because they want to and intentionally wanted to silence you for the things that you were saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Liz Corcoran, welcome to the Wine Cellar. That was a hell of an intro, wasn't it?
I need a glass of wine.
I know, we got the Don Paula Estate Malbec. Okay, this is in Argentina. How's that?
Perfect.
All right, cool. Let me let you
had
taste.
that bottle before.
Oh God, I'm about to break it. Look, let me let you taste it. It looks really good. I love the color.
It does look good.
Yeah. Tell me what you think. Yes.
It's good.
It's very good. All right, let me go ahead and top you off. We just popped the bottle for you.
All right.
She, interesting enough said, because you know we are winos, you don't drink wines from California.
No.
Why is that? Tell me.
Well, I realized that after I would drink wine from California, I would always feel sick the next day. I would have a bad hangover. I'd have a headache, and so I started researching, and I found that they put Roundup in a lot of the, like, in, you know, in the vineyards, they use Roundup, and Roundup is a chemical that causes all kinds of health problems, and including cancer. And so I just stopped drinking California wine after that. And I try to only drink South American wine, or wine from Europe, because they tend to not have as much, not only like chemicals in the wine, but just additives and stuff like that. I just find that you just don't get sick the next day. You don't get a hangover, you don't get a headache. But and every once in a blue moon, someone will be like, oh no, just try this bottle of wine from California, and they'll have a couple glasses, and like, sure enough, like the next morning I feel awful. So
well, even if they are organic wines, the Roundup is still in the soil.
Well, so that's the
it's
thing.
hard to get it out.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, when they put a chemical like Roundup in the soil, if you have an organic vineyard, the chemicals can blow over. I mean, if anyone that's been to California knows how windy it gets there. So so they actually did testing on the organic wines from California, and they still found that Roundup is in those wines, even though they don't put it in the soil for those vineyards. So even the organic wine, you know, even if they, you know, go out of their way to try to make it, you know, not to have these chemicals in them, they still find them.
And that's why I do New Zealand wines.
Yeah.
They have the cleanest vineyards. They don't even wear shoes on their vineyard. Like,
oh, wow.
To go and harvest. They don't wear shoes. You're not allowed to. So that's how clean they keep their soil. And you can taste it in the wine. I got my husband.
Well, I hope their feet are clean.
They are. They haven't put plastic over. But I remember my husband was like, you always drinking them, what do you call them? Old lady wines. You know what I'm saying? The Sauvignon Blancs and stuff, the ones that you drink during the day at the bar, you know? And I'm like, okay, you talking shit. So I gave him, you know, a half glass of Kim Crawford. It was a very basic one. He was like, this wine is hit like shit. He didn't wake up with no headache. He wasn't tired. He could go to work. He was fucked up, but he could still go to work. You know? So cheers. Welcome again to the Wine Celebrants List. Courtney.
Because of Piedmont's
Shall I say there's a market for trafficking 58-year-old white guys? So, if there is, I need to get in touch with Jeffrey Epstein's handlers, give my money. Shall I say there's a market for trafficking 58-year-old white guys? So, if there is, I need to get in touch with Jeffrey Epstein's handlers, give my money. Shall I say there's a market for trafficking 58-year-old? You better run. Run! I think that you gotta run because you are the poop in your head. You better run.
Signs that angels are in your house. Angels are everywhere, and they are always present in your life. They have been assigned to each of us.
Uh-oh. My bad, I'm still on this one. Stop the show on the other. Stop broadcasting on the other. I'm still broadcasting. I got one person here. Hello. Well, I'm out of here. God bless y'all.